So I have already said what we do in church is not the treasure. I hope you have said that. I hope you do not make a link now between what I'm going to say and the treasure, the pearl of great price, is not serving at church. Okay? You've all heard me say that, haven't you? But I hope also that it provides a context for understanding why we are called to serve in the church. When my family comes home at Christmas, when my children come home, 2 of my children now live away from home, I'm looking forward to this Christmas when they come back and we gather together and we'll have extended family time together. I think because Pip's family is German, we celebrate on Christmas Eve, and we spend Christmas Eve just getting everything ready for people to come and celebrate. And we will spend a lot of time doing that. We will clean the house. I'm using the royal we here. Obviously, I'm involved. We will clean the house, and we will cook food, and we will wrap presents. And when people are here, we will continue to cook food, and we will continue to clean up after people and throw wrapping paper into bins and all those things that happen when you have guests around and you have extended family around. What we're doing there is we are creating the environment within which relationship can happen. That's not Christmas. That is the things you do to make Christmas happen. That is the things you do to make relationship happen and family be able to happen. We give up our time. We give up our money. We buy things. We buy food. We buy presents. We give up our energy. And we give up time with other people maybe for this time because we're focusing on our family and friends maybe. Because that is the thing that we think is important. So we do things in order for that to happen. But they are not the treasure, are they? That isn't Christmas. And in the same way as I've already said, this service, what we do in church is not the treasure. It is the means by which we create the family environment, the church family environment, so that we are able to go after the treasure. And I want everything we do in this church, any serving we do in this church should always be in that context of we are as a family, church family together, on a journey of seeking the great prize, seeking the treasure of Jesus. And then when we serve in this church, we are creating the family environment that enables us to be able to do that. Does that make sense? It's really important because sometimes you can hear talks about serving in the church and it feels like a sense of duty, oh, I've got to do that. But I think this changes it. If you know that by serving, if I know that by serving, I am helping to create the environment within which we can all discover that great prize, that treasure of Jesus, and continue to, then it changes the motivation, it changes the why behind what we're doing. Serving refreshments is there to create an environment that enables relationship. You know, we get to talk with each other afterwards, and the Bible talks about sharpening each other, building up relationships so that we're at a deep enough relationship so that if someone says, this is really tough, we can go, can I pray for you? Or I will pray for you this week. That ultimately is what coffee and tea is about. It's about deepening relationships between us as a family so that we can actually get to know each other and not just be faces we pass on a Sunday and then have nothing to do with. We want to do everything we can to build those relationships. That's why we are going after communities. And we'll be talking a little bit more about communities in future weeks. The youth work that we serve in, the children's work that we serve in, it's a privilege. It's such an honor to do that because we're helping those young people to have an environment in which they can discover the treasure of Jesus. It's not just so that we can fill a rota and do our bit, although we do like to fill rotas, don't we, Steph? Yeah. All of these things are to enable family. I always remember, we didn't do this much, but as a family, I don't know if you remember, can you remember when we went geocaching in York? No, you don't. You were probably very little, Beth. But do you remember geocaching? You know, you used to get these like little treasure things you could go and find, and you on your phone you had an app, and you went to one marker, and then it gave you a clue, and you had to put it in, and it maybe gave you coordinates, and then you had to go to another and another, and eventually you found this box that sometimes had some sweets in it, or sometimes had something else in it. Not that great a treasure, but it was fun. And for me, the only reason I remember that is that we did it together as family. It was fun doing it together as family. And you moved as fast as the slowest person could go. And that's another image I would love us to have as family, church family. We are in this together. We're doing things to enable us to move. What matters is that we're moving towards the treasure, for wherever God is leading us to. But we went after the treasure together. We were little 5 of us running around fields, looking really silly, trying to find this hidden, buried treasure. And that's the image I would like us to have in terms of what we're about. The other image is the people of God leaving Egypt. When they were set free, and their treasure was the promised land, the promise of the promised land, when they were set free, they went. There'll have been older people, younger people, people who can walk, people who can ride horses and go really fast, people who probably needed to be carried like babies, people who were older and had to move slowly. But they went together, and they went as fast as they could take everyone else with them. And that's really important. That's what we're about. So we create the environment where we can all go. Now, some people can sit in the sand and go, I'm not going. That's fine. That's everyone's prerogative. But if anyone's moving, we want to take them with us. And that would be true. That's an image of the people of God leaving Egypt. We help each other find the treasure. So if you already serve in some way at this church, in whatever way you serve, thank you. We do this together. We're not a church that is about a few people at the front, a few paid people, a few people at the front who aren't paid, who do all the stuff, and you come along and consume your bit of church on a Sunday and then go home and that's it. That's not what we're about. We've never been that sort of church. We are a church that we do this together or we don't do it at all. And so thank you for those of you who serve. Love that. I hope today you've had a little bit of a why as to why it's important, and that maybe just reminded you. If you don't yet serve in the church, find a place to do that. Haven't had the opportunity, and I recognize we've not been very good always at helping people to know where they can serve. But if you don't, can I ask you to pray this morning, where can I serve in the church? How can I help this family be a place where we together seek the treasure together, create the environment where that can happen? That's why you have this. And you can, if you know, so first of all, the thing to say about this is not a commitment. So if you take children's ministry, you are not going to find yourself on the rota to do children's work next week, okay? Let me be clear. This is an indication of interest, okay? So please hear that. If you are interested in any of these things, please tick them, put your name and email on, and mobile number, and then you can drop it. There's a blue box that we used last week for the food bank donations with a slot on the top. If you pop it into there, we will take it. There's also a QR code on there where you can scan it with your phone and you can fill it in online. There is also a link on the website to that online form as well. So you may want to just pray about it, take your time. But please, can I encourage you, if you're watching at home as well, please can I encourage you, ask, how can I serve in the church? How can I help create the environment in which we're all going after this together, and we're all going after the treasure? Great.